Hey, I apologize all this mess behind me, all the flowers and presents. We celebrated my channel's 100 viewers last week, so that's why we have all those things. Now, just kidding. My daughter graduated from high school and we had some party here. Pretty awesome. Congratulations, Evelina. Well done. You can now come back and clean up this mess. But hey, let's go to business. Every now and then, gear, a camera, a lens, film, excites me. Somehow inspires me and helps me to see world differently. That happened to me last week when I acquired this. This is a Kiev 88 camera. It's a crudely made Hasselblad 1600F copy. But that's not the point. What is the point is the lens it's attached to. This is an Arsat F3.5 30mm lens, and this is pretty unique. Just look at it. It weighs a ton and it looks like a black hole. It is the widest angle lens that you can get to cover the entire 6x6 medium format size, and as a 30mm medium format lens, it is comparable to 16mm in a full frame format. Now, they made these in Soviet Union, in Ukraine, first under name Zodiak and then later as Arsats. There are basically two versions of this lens. There's this one that is with the Kiev 88 mount, and then there's another version that looks exactly the same, and it's for Pentagon 6 Kiev 60 mount. You can adapt this 88 version to Pentagon 6 with an adapter, but to my understanding you can't do it the other way around. But I'm not exactly sure about that. If you are interested in this adaptation, you should Google. Now, there are a few things that are pretty unique with this lens. I give you 3 of my favorites. First of all, you can bend time and space. What do I mean by that? Now, let's first take a look at this. Now, this is a Hasselblad super wide with a 38mm biogun lens. 30mm, 38. So this is even more wide-angle lens, actually a fisheye lens. Well, this tries to keep everything straight. It doesn't bend anything. If you shoot horizon, it stays straight. If you shoot architecture, all the lines are the way architect intended them to be. Not so much with this one. Now, this really ends up bending space and time. Now, if you put the horizon in the upper part of your picture, you can prove to the flat earth believers that the earth is really a globe. And then if you put the horizon down here, then you can confuse the heck out of everybody. So like Einstein, this lens can warp time and space. And then like Samson in Bible, this lens can also bend pillars of a temple. So it is both scientific, a la Einstein, and biblical, a la Samson. Pretty cool for one single Soviet lens, huh? So this was number 1, bending things. Number 2, now all wide-angle lenses, because of the laws of physics, they have very large depth of field. That means that pretty much everything you shoot at is in focus. For example, with this lens, if I put it to f16, everything is in focus from 60 centimeters to infinity. Now, that is pretty cool if you are shooting, say, landscape, where you want to have something in a foreground in focus, but also the horizon in focus. But that limits your possibility to play with the narrow focus areas, like emphasizing something by focusing to it and letting everything else to sort of bokeh away, just, melt into the background. This is not typically possible with a wide-angle lens, but Arsat Zodiak has one unique trick. Now, this lens focuses to 30 centimeters, and that is pretty awesome. Now, how do you calculate the focusing distance? You calculate it from the film plane, and the film is here, and then 30 centimeters is then here. This is where you can focus. And if you calculate the distance between the lens and the focus, it's only 12 centimeters. So you can actually focus with this camera only 12 centimeters from the lens. And that is really a macro territory, isn't it? And what happens when you focus this close? Then you get a really narrow depth of field. Between the 30 centimeters, like 12 from the lens, and about 50-60 centimeters, you can play with the really narrow depth of field and with really interesting effect. So you can use this as a wide-angle fisheye lens and as a macro lens at the same time in a medium format camera. And this gives you pictures like this. So this lens, it bends time and space, and then it works as a macro and a wide-angle lens at the same time. What is my number 3 favorite? That gotta be the price. If you want to buy a comparable 30mm medium format lens for your Western cameras, you need to pay like 6,000 euros for the gear. That's more than I pay for my car. For this, I bought both the camera and the lens combined 200 euros. That's like 2 and 2 zeros. That's practically nothing for this enjoyment. So the third thing needs to be the price. Bending time and space, playing with the narrow depth of field close by, and the price. So what are then the disadvantages and some shortcomings of this lens? Well, it really is a gimmick, and as such I will probably get tired of it pretty soon, but until I do, I keep on bending the universe.